Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the BnT. Today, we will be talking about a subject that hits very close to home. Normally, I just kinda have bullet points and go off the deep end, as they say, but for today, the entire episode's scripted. The reason being, neurotypical and neurodivergent, they're kind of the same subject, but also very tricky. Sadly, also, those subjects are kind of taboo, usually. Hopefully, if you are neurotypical, you learn something from this podcast. I also hope I can make myself sufficiently clear. As a side note, I am obviously not the arbiter of information for every single neurodivergent person on this planet. I can only speak from my own personal experience. Keep that in mind, as I am a fallible human being. I make mistakes, and if I do, point them out. I can only speak from my own point of view. Now, that that's out of the way, let's start with the first point. What are these terms? Neurodivergent? Neurotypical? This is a good question I can imagine people have stuck in their mind. Allow me to clarify to the best of my abilities. As I understand it, neurotypical refers to people with a common, or indeed typical, brain structure. People who do not have a mental illness, or at least not to a degree where it influences their daily lives in a negative way. These are people that are widely considered normal by society. We don't use the term normal in these conversations because it poisons the well to refer to people with problems as abnormal or non-functional. This is not only rude, but it also usually undermines serious problems. Despite our problems, we are still people with the same intrinsic value, and we deserve to be treated as such. Therefore, we choose the term neurodivergent. Diverging means to stray from the beaten path. We are different. This way, we take stigma away from conversations. I would also like to state that being quirky or a little weird is not an example of being neurodivergent. Something is not as it would be typically in our brains. We suffer from this in our current society, and it should be treated seriously. Faking mental illness to garner sympathy is, in my opinion, much like faking to be seriously sick. So, for instance, imagine you're a kid. You've just convinced your parents that you have a very nasty cough. "I think I have the flu," you say in your best sick voice. Your parents believe you, or at least they don't care enough to fight you on it, and they let you stay home and play video games all day. This is not what being genuinely sick is like. When you actually have a throbbing headache, you feel terrible, and usually wouldn't even think to stare at a screen for hours at a time. You're suffering. That is what mental illness is like. It's not an excuse to step out of line. It's not a way to circumvent responsibilities. It is an illness. We suffer from this. Usually, we lament not being neurotypical. Me personally, I can't concentrate very well. This is extremely upsetting at work, in school, or at any other serious mandatory thing in life. Having to ask my partner constantly to repeat herself because my brain must continually play catch up is very annoying. These are terrible things to experience. While growing up, I cried many times in my bedsheets, wishing that I could just be normal. Imagine faking something as serious as wanting to unalive yourself for some petty internet points. It's incredibly disrespectful to people with genuine issues. Also, you get the boy who cried wolf effect. If you use mental illness in such a light-hearted and non-issue kind of way, you take the attention away from spending time on genuine, real issues. At some point, if a suffering person cries for help, the cry will go ignored, simply because the people don't take it seriously anymore. And sadly, I know what that's like. To have cries, pleas, and just simply begging go unheard because they tell me mental illness is not real anyway. You're just lazy. You're just a little shit. You should have just paid attention. These things are beyond harmful, not just to me, but to a rather large contingent of society. Imagine if your child was kidnapped, but police shrug it off saying, "People can't even kidnap. That's illegal. You're just overreacting." That's bordering on dystopian. Anyway, this is why we use terms like neurotypical and neurodivergent. Neurotypical means a functioning brain, functioning in the way most brains do, and what society favors. Neurodivergent means, well, different than the first. Usually looked down upon by society. different and suffering from it. You might be wondering, how are you different, Bumleo? And if you did, you're in luck, because it's time for my personal experiences and life as a neurodivergent. So yeah, hi. My name's Bumleo, but you can just call me Leo. I'm a 26-year-old male, and I'm suffering from my own head. Not just because it's so damn ugly, but because of its contents. You see, I'm currently in a process of finding out exactly what is wrong with me. The professionals, therapists, and psychiatrists currently strongly suspect that I might have ADHD. However, it's also clear that I have symptoms of autism. I cannot say more on the matter, nor do I want to. However, what has been constituted clear as day is that I have manic depression. I've been through many tests and it's been decided without a doubt that I do indeed have depression. Cool, so now why does any of this matter? Well, I don't know if any of you have ever been suicidal or made plans, not just feeling down or being sad. I mean, literally at the end of your rope, seeing no way forward, only a way out. Whenever I talk about this subject, which is not very often, I always say this. To me personally, it wasn't about death. It wasn't about wanting the sweet embrace or some other poetic nonsense. The suffering was so great, so intense, and it was all the time around me like a suffocating mist that I couldn't go on. It was never about wanting to die. It's about wanting away, to be away from it all. If people had offered me to start life completely anew, in a different body, in a different time, and in a different place, I would have taken it in an instant. You want to, no, you need to escape. And the only way is to stop walking the road that's hurting you. I know better now, and debatably back then, but that has been an issue for me. Making plans, writing letters to loved ones, discussing with myself what the most efficient way would be. For instance, a thought process I would have a lot was as follows. I shouldn't jump in front of a car. The fatality rate is not high enough, and I don't want to traumatize the driver and potential passengers. Trains are a more surefire way, but it would be egotistical to leave the world by traumatizing the train driver and making all those passengers and other people late for work or school. I want my impact on the world to be as small as possible. My parents are unavoidable, of course, but anyone who can be should be spared. Seeing as I'm quite overweight, a rope would not only strangle me, but also break my neck. It would be painless, instant, it has a high mortality rate, and near to no mess. Yeah, I think this is the best way. As you can hear from my previous statement... Hi, sweetie. My cat has jumped on the table. As you can hear, this whole thought process was purely logical. To me, it was only about the results and the ramifications. Not for attention, not for anybody else. What was the best way, plan to do it, and then do it. Of course, I failed, as you can clearly hear. I've had brushes with death, but I'm still here. For better, or for worse. Listen, man, I think it's important for people to know, but it hurts like hell. Come on, sweetie, don't do that. Sweetheart. I'm trying to record. Come on. Listen, I just think it's important. Sweetheart, come on, don't do that. Sweetie, you're knocking over my microphone. Don't do that. Come on. No, stop it. Yeah. I love you. I love you a lot. I wonder if you can hear her purring. Listen, I think it's important for people to know, but it hurts like hell. It still does. I don't really think anything is wrong with my way of thinking back then. I still don't. I want people to hear my story and be able to compare it to theirs, to get some insight and educate, but I know it should be wrong. But the problem is that it doesn't feel like it. Not in a romantic way, but in a what the hell is wrong with me kind of way. Nevertheless, I want to be the change I want to see in this world, so I'm sticking to my guns and I will keep writing this script no matter the baggage. I have other experiences that might interest people, but honestly, I don't think putting everything out there here in this podcast is the best idea. My point is, my brain is wired in a weird way, and I think in a wrong way. Hi, sweetie. I love you. So, after I wrote the previous section, I had to take a long break. Confrontation with this topic is still very, very painful. I think it's important to put it out there, though. Sweetheart, come on. Daddy's trying to do something serious here. Oh. I think it's important to put it out there, though, for anyone who might be able to hear it. Also, it's about time for the next part where I talk about the ramifications of being neurodivergent in our current circumstances. So, let's do just that. The ramifications of being neurodivergent in our current society. It might shock you to hear that even though I'm 26 now, Yumi, stop. You're such a little fucker. I love you. But you can't be doing this, come on. Sweetheart, come on. It might shock you to hear that, even though I'm 26 now, I used to be younger. As a child, I didn't know what was wrong with me. I knew something must have been wrong with me because other children kind of shied away from me. I was never invited to birthday parties, etc. Now I know I wasn't the best guest. I was fat and I constantly asked for food. Besides, I was not very, capable of reading the room? My brother often called me out on this behavior, which upset me because I didn't understand it. I've spent many days crying in my bedsheets, asking what was wrong with me, and now I'm only starting to begin to scratch the surface of what might be wrong with me. Or different about me, sorry. I was often perceived as rude because I asked questions directly and I spoke what was on my mind. In my head, lying was very wrong and often punished severely. This made me speak out against teachers or other people. In one of the worst cases, when I was but a young teenager, I wore a black jacket, and one that was way too large for me. I had a very scruffy face, and my head and I were very skinny. It sounds weird, right? Like I was a fat kid, then a very scrawny teenager, and now I'm a fat adult again. This is because I have incredible difficulty with boundaries. What is too much? What is too little? I don't know, I just tend to overcompensate a lot. Anyway, as a scrawny teenager, I was waiting on a friend on the outskirts of a park when the police showed up. They stood still in front of me and asked me for identification. I gave it to them and asked if I was being arrested. They said, "No, we're just holding you here," and then I asked, "On what grounds am I being held?" They gave me a side eye and I asked, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm just curious. I'm aware of my demeanor is all." They simply said that there had been a lot of break-ins in the vicinity and I met their criteria for the perpetrator. Yumi, I can't read my script like this. You're such a little...
You know what's funny?
What is funny?
Your brother.
Yeah. Even though he is not capable of reading the room at all.
Like autistic.
Yeah, I know.
He's like a little fucker.
Yeah, it's the pot and the kettle and stuff, you know. I said, "Okay, that makes sense. So is everything in order? Like, I'll cooperate, but I'm just waiting on a friend while listening to music." I could tell they were kind of done with my attitude, so I just stopped talking altogether. In my mind, I was just asking questions. When they left and my friend showed up, we talked about it, and Yumi is trying to destroy my laptop because she is sweet and I love her very much. He pointed out that I was being a smartass, asking too many questions and I should have laid low. He thought, or I thought, yeah, he must be right, but in my mind it just didn't make any sense. Everyone is equal and asking questions can never be a bad thing, right? Well, apparently when speaking to someone with authority, and Yumi is standing in front of my laptop again. Hello? I can't get rid of her, nor do I want to, I'm sorry. She's being very supportive. And small. Always small. Okay. When speaking with someone with authority, you're not supposed to speak to them unless spoken to. Now, I did not know that. I thought it was fair to ask why, but this was perceived as annoying. This is one of many examples of my youth and my adulthood where I was doing something wrong because either I didn't understand and I still don't fully understand now. I tend to ramble on about things that I find interesting. This is one of many examples of my youth and my adulthood where I was doing something wrong because I didn't understand and I still don't fully. I tend to ramble on about things that I find interesting, and many people apparently hate that too. You see, I just didn't know. My head works in a certain way. Sometimes people see it as antisocial behavior or simply odd or cringe, but I just genuinely don't understand. And that can be very, let's say, difficult with job interviews. Right now, I'm in a pretty good position with a boss who is like young and understanding, and I've been home for a while due to nerve injuries, but he has been nothing but supportive. I've had job interviews where the interviewer asked a question that I had not anticipated, and it just left me stumped and stopped eating mommy's projects. That's not very cool of you, Yumi. Stop doing that. You're a little baby. There's so many of them. There's so much yarn to lick. I'm debating whether I should just upload this unedited and leave all of the Yumi shenanigans in. Yeah, I'll probably do that. Just so that the world can know what my cat does whenever I'm trying to record something. Not just this, it's like music too. Stop it now. I'm gonna... You're going on the floor. You're gonna be a floor baby. Oh my god. Hello. I love you very much. But you have to go on the floor now. I have been home for a while due to a nerve injury, but he has been nothing but supportive. I've had job interviews where the interviewer asked a question that I had not anticipated, and it just left me stumped and just searching for words. They would give me a dirty look and repeat the question impatiently. You know, I try to make up for my shortcomings. I really do, but my brain just doesn't work like most people's do. Or when I must state my boundaries due to neurological limitations, the prospective boss waves away my application because I'm not really wanting to work for them, or they can't hire a slacker, or, something like that. Listen, I wish I was able to. I wish I had the capabilities to do what they wanted. I really wish I could. I've tried. I've lied about my mental state. I've pretended to be normal. I've tried to do what other people do, but I couldn't do it. I've disappointed people. I have. And it hurts. One of the worst things is when you know that how your head functions is, well, not like other people's. People will say, oh, it's just different, and you're not lesser, but in all practicality, it still feels that way. I feel like an idiot. It feels like what my brain does is simply not enough or good enough in this current day and age. I've learned to say, please be patient, I'm just a bit slow in at least 4 languages, just to say that to people from other countries. Okay, so another example, right? So I had a friend, but also family members who echoed the same thing. They kept telling me that I had to go search for a job when I was around 17 years old. I told them that I had tried, and it's really not that simple. They just said that I was being lazy, and I had to take a more proactive approach. Just go in there and ask them if they need more hands on deck. You'll get shot down, but that's part of the game. Just keep going until someone takes you. Now, this might sound good to a person who can just actually go and do that. It sounds good to boomers, yeah. But I do not have the self-esteem, nor do I have the absolute audacity to just go in and do that. However, you know what I did? I did it. I did that. I pushed, I pretended to be normal, and I went in places because of this friend forced my hand. And I got shot down, obviously. When I got back to him and told him what happened, he was kind of shocked that I, and I quote, only went to one place that day. I told him that it already took so much energy and gall in the first place to go to that one place that one day, which he just waved away as laziness. You see, when I say that I can't, please fucking listen. When I say that I've tried, please believe me. When I say that I'm tired, alright? We keep going. We keep on going, but to say to someone who's depressed that they should just go is very much like saying get good. Just do it. Don't know where to start or what your competences are or where your talents lie? Who cares? Just rush in headlong into the metaphorical arse of a company who wants cheap labor. Is it going to be a traumatizing experience? Who cares? Just do it, you know? No, I care. I care, and I hate the sentiment that I am outright lying, weak, or lazy. Years of therapy have taught me that I overstep my boundaries constantly, and I cannot properly heal because everybody has always taught me the toxic sentiment of that I'm just weak, and to get stronger that I need to torture myself. I'm here today to tell you that despite the number of people that might yell that sentiment, that they are wrong. You are the only one who can take care of yourself in that way. You think strongmen don't have rest days? You think workers never take holidays? You think you're not allowed to breathe? Or worst of all, do you think you're taking up someone else's precious space while you are broken compared to the person you're taking the space and air from? You're wrong. You're very, very wrong. If the world didn't want you to get born, you wouldn't be here. It's not your fault you were brought into this world. It's not your fault that you're different. It's not your fault. Listen, from me to you, right? Keep trying. I wonder whether you've pushed yourself too far. If you wonder whether you've pushed yourself too far, you might well have. Work hard, but not stupidly hard. Take your goddamn time because you deserve the air in your lungs. You deserve to be here. It's literally your birthright to exist. Well, hello phone. Aside from all of this rambling, it can get hard for people that are neurodivergent, because people are very eager to put us in the inferiority box. It's up to us, I guess, because this world is wrought by the hands of the rich and powerful, to tell them that they are dead wrong. You're still a human being, and a beautiful one at that. Don't let people who would step on your head for a quarter inch more of power tell you that you are insufficient. If you know when to stop and take a break, you are already further along than most people I know. Killing yourself slowly is not a mark of pride. It's a sign of a problem. Tackle the problem, take your time to heal, and then get that bread. Oh, and if you're like me, who has seen the zeal of other people and wishes to do the same, there is no perfect. Try to get as close as you can, but if you ask the greatest creators on this planet if they would change anything at their work, I can safely say that like 90% certainly would say yes. And while I'm on one, vanilla ice cream is fine. I like it, and don't let people shame you for liking vanilla. Don't let people shame you for liking anything, by the by. Unless it hurts others, cringe culture is dead, and just fucking you do you. You know? Yeah. Alright, next chapter. Sorry about that. My cat's finally jumped off of the table.
Ding dong.
Specifics of my problems, potential causes, and labels. To clarify, potential causes refers to the problems that I experience and where they may come from. I guess we can just start there. So, a specific problem that I have is with short-term memory. Robin, my partner, can ask me something, and while I did truly listen, I forget immediately and ask her to repeat herself. While this may be annoying, it's not that I didn't pay attention, it's that my brain just kind of turns off sometimes. To absorb nothing, or at least not hold on to it. I get times when I stare off into nothingness as well. There are times when I play games and I just have it paused and I look at the screen for several minutes. I also very much enjoy games that are pausable for that very same reason. Excuse me. I have a hard time studying sometimes, while other times I feel like I go like a steam train through some subject. Music, for example. There are a bunch of things about music theory that fall into a box nicely, and I just know them forever. It's the same with a lot of biology, but more abstract subjects like calculating chance in math with a certain formula, my brain cannot just produce an answer. I don't understand why I need to use that specific formula, and I just fall flat on my face. My mind becomes all fuzzy and I start writing on autopilot. This is true for a lot of people, I think, and one of the easiest things to understand. We're starting slowly, you know? That fuzzy feeling, like a hazy feeling in my mind, I feel almost all the time. Even as I'm writing this, it's difficult for me to keep my focus. Or when I'm recording this, by the way. What helps is the thought that I can pause writing at any time. See? I mean, you don't, but I took a break of a month or two. But that's not important, alright? I took another 2-minute break, but the reason segues really beautifully into my next point. Obsessive behavior. I wash my hands a lot. I smell my hands every 5 minutes or so just to make sure that they were thoroughly cleansed. This is a problem because I also have a type of eczema that makes my hands really, really dry. Soap, for those who don't know, binds itself to lipids or fatty substances and it suffuses in water. This essentially dries out your skin. My skin is already extremely prone to drying out, so adding too much soap, which further dries out my skin, is, well, it's a bad idea. I suppose it's for a sense of security, a frail form of control. I don't want to get sick. I don't want to get the funny Rona virus, but I know full well that what I'm doing is not really helping me. And it's just not fair. I know it's bad, yet I continue to do it. Another thing is locking the door. You know how when you turn the key, at a certain point the key can't go any further and it hits like a blockage, so to speak? Yeah, I knock the key by turning it to a point several times before I accept that the door is now properly locked. Does it help? No, absolutely not. Is the door more locked now? Heck no. Will I continue to do this? Probably, yeah. It makes me feel safer. Listen, the last one was pretty harmless, or at least I think so. And everyone has their vices, I guess, but writing about this is also another excellent exercise in focus. I am seriously having trouble keeping my fingers typing right now. I feel this brick in my head weighing me down, causing nausea, making me feel sick. But I want to do this. I want to write. I want to create. Yet I am hindered in what I want and need to do because of my problems. This brings me to a problem that, well, I guess we both knew was coming. A big problem that nowadays gets more and more prevalent. Self-esteem, self-loathing, and suicidality. Listen, okay, I do not like myself. I can't bring myself to do the things that I love. I'm fat, I think I'm ugly, everything gets too much for me way too fast. I can't keep up with the pace of life. I try desperately, but I just can't. I'm expected to run when I can barely crawl. Doubly so because I found out recently that I have 2 hernias for which I need surgery and still haven't gotten it after months. I wanted to finish this script half a year ago, but I just couldn't. I'm in constant pain, I feel nauseous, I'm fat, and I want to get better. After surgery, I'm going to the gym slowly and take more time to do the things that matter for me. And will it be hard? Yes, absolutely. Will I fail? Very likely, yeah. Am I going to keep trying? Yeah, also, yes. But what if I told you how I felt? What I really felt? What I feel is this. I'm not cut out for the life that I have. I feel like a genetic abomination that should have been aborted while my parents still had the chance. I want to not exist. See, dying is but a means to an end. I feel no romanticized feelings for the bleakness of death or some shit like that. No, it's all too much. And I can't handle this. I want out. I want out. I will never succeed in what I want to do. I just want out. To not be burdened by the chains of responsibilities of living, breathing, eating, sleeping, working out, keeping social, and I can't do it. I can't do it anymore. Please, don't make me. And that is how I truly feel. That is what nobody sees or even wants to hear. Living is like torture. Trapped in a mind that would rather cease to exist than to continue on. I see the horrors of the world around me, people that would kill others for loving someone of the same gender, people that use social constructs to oppress, wave away, and kill, and me? I don't even deserve to breathe in a world with disgusting people like them. Imagine for a second how much I would have to hate myself. If I would give other people that would kill based on skin color a chance to better themselves with therapy, love, and kindness, with exposure to the people they brainwashed themselves into hating, yet I would rather just kill myself. People would call me a coward. My family would be hurt, maybe for a little while, but what should I care? I won't be here to experience it. And yet, I made a promise. I promised my partner Robin and my mother simply not to kill myself. I promised the people that I truly care about to live in mental anguish and torture. This is somehow a good thing. As of writing this script, it seems absurd, dear listeners. Saying this, writing this, it really, really hurts. I don't want to do it. I want to go to sleep in the hopes maybe tomorrow it will all be over. Maybe my hernia ruptures and necrosis sets in before people can save me. Then it won't be my fault. I would not have a choice. And no one would blame me for... God. Why can't I just be normal? Dear listener, I implore you, no, I beg of you, just please don't do it. Yes, that. Taking your own final breath voluntarily. I cannot see the reason right now. People have told me living is worth it. I disagree, but yet, I keep going. And if someone like me can do it, heck, anyone should be able to. I'm weak. I hate myself, and I genuinely think the world, my parents, and even my partner would be better off without me. And I still just keep going. I still wake up. I still do the dishes. I still cook. I still keep breathing. I'm scared. I'm scared of everything. I'm scared of social interactions and etiquettes. What if I slip up and give too much information? What if I accidentally use a social technique in the wrong place and time and people think that I'm cruel? Yeah, what if? That is another problem. Masking. I didn't know what masking was for the longest time, so I didn't think that I did it. I thought everyone just kind of mimicked what they saw other people do in similar situations. I thought everyone had to think about what piece fitted in what situation, feverishly searching your mind for the right answer. How are you doing? Well, in truth, I'm doing terribly. I just found out that I have to get surgery and constantly dread the passage of time and waking up, but oopsie, people don't want to hear that, so I'll just say that I'm fine. But I don't want to lie, so maybe if I dress it up nicely, I could make it, I could be better. Oh, but it's impolite to leave it at that, so I have to follow it up with, what about you? The way you keep the conversation going, because I know it's looked down upon by society if a person can't carry a conversation. We can't simply say what we think. After all, you're at work, and the hardest part of that is this conversation with a coworker. Did they respond? I didn't hear it. Am I being rude? What is happening? And this is constantly going on in my fuzzy, watery, stupid head whenever I talk. Why can't we ever just say, I don't know, I woke up this morning and I cried? We can't be honestly miserable. We have to keep up appearances, and it's all a game after all. We all have to play it, we must. But others don't see it this way. Others don't have to think about talking like that. Other people can just do it naturally. Without searching their mind and picking up something relevant we observe to carry it to the mouth. They just do it. And this is masking. Pretending to be normal, to not be ostracized from the rest of society. Doing what you learned because you think it's polite instead of just being you. I have masked for so long, I don't even know who I am anymore. How would I act? Maybe if I get another mask, like a clean slate, maybe I can truly be me. What would that be like? Would it be bad? Would it be good? Would people hate me? Would I still like it even though the people hated the new me, the true me? Would I lose my friends? Would I be happy? Believe it or not, dear listener, this is but the absolute tippity top of the iceberg. I could rant for hours, like I've done in my mind. I could tell you how coldly satisfying it was to look up the most certain, mess-free, and socially acceptable way to off oneself was. Just because I knew what the next steps would be. I could rant on about how bloody obvious it is to me that violence breeds yet more violence and how consumerism is destroying our foundational being. How going on strike to stick it to the higher-ups usually only affects consumers and barely the bottom line in most cases, but I still support people going on strike. Because our system is broken and I could go on, but I won't. Oh, it would be cathartic to do so. Believe you me, dear listener, but that is not the point. I gave you but a very small section of all the problems that I deal with, problems that I hate, problems that I'm working on. But where would that bring us? Nowhere. The point is, I am me. Me does not work in this society. Autism, ADHD, depression as a product of the two. How do we fix it? That brings me to the next and final chapter. Fixing the problem. So fixing. What is fixing? I like to know everything about something that I'm interested in. For instance, like a guitar. How does it work? How does it produce sound and why? What are wavelengths and why are they influenced by my finger, effectively shortening the string? All of these questions have clear-cut answers. Yet social problems, processes and stigmas are another beast entirely. In my own view, there are two options. We fix me, or we fix the system. Because the problem is me in the system. That has two big variables, me and the system. So let's explore both and explain what fixing constitutes along the way. Let's start with me, alright? Fixing, in essence, is the removing and or replacing of what is broken, restoring something to the function you want it to have. So, what does the system want from me? The system wants me to be productive, take part in the economy, be autonomous to be able to take care of my own wants and needs, and to be social, to interact with people that I need to, and to not be a pariah in order to make the most of the earlier two things. Easy, right? Just 3 things. Well, yes and no. It's simple, but it's not easy. Let's tackle them one by one in my specific case, because I cannot talk for anybody else. Be productive. Okay, I want to, and if I would have a job that would fit with me, I would love to be able to give back to society. After all, we are all just one cog in this big machine that we call life, however zany that may sound. I understand this. Now, where the problem lies is that I've tried many jobs. I've clung on to them for a year before it just becomes too much to handle for me and I just break down. Now, this means in essence that the job was never right for me, but I was able to mask for about a year until everything hit the shitter. I was able to desperately conform to the norm for a year until everything broke. Suddenly, I just break down crying, I vomit from stress, and I can only lay in bed short of breath, incoherent thoughts rampantly raging through my skull. You see, I'm not quirky. I don't want to be a slacker. Or lazy, even though lazy is often just a word used by higher-ups to guilt-trip you into working more. I want to participate, and I want to give back. I can't. That's what neurodivergent life is like for me. So, find a job that fits me. Okay, yeah, that's fair. How do I do this myself? Well, the short answer is you can't. Not really. The public does not have the resources to find stuff out like that, to my knowledge at least. I looked it up, and all the work that would fit me is volunteer basis. In other words, no money, therefore not recognized by the government as proper work. Okay, cool. So, I reach out to a work coach. I've done this, and they don't do much, to be honest. What they do is they just pressure you as if you were just being lazy. Just go for it. Don't worry, just do it. Send your curriculum vitae to multiple employers. Don't investigate it too much. These are the responses that I mainly got. They pay no mind to my brain structure and what would fit me. They get frustrated because they don't understand me, don't really want to deal with me, and they just push me to whatever is convenient for them. Also, I think that they misunderstand the job market. Not to throw any shade to anyone, but picking apples in my country and direct environment requires having done an agricultural study. Yeah, so I wanted to work with plants, but a potential employer asks questions as to why. I say that I really like plants, I think their biology is fascinating. And then they ask why specifically I want to work at their company. I cannot answer. Every company, in truth, is the same for me. I don't really care about the background or the higher-ups. And I'm rejected. Okay, whatever. We repeat the same song and dance until I am hired, and then I can't keep up. Believe me, I've done this for a long time now. Hey, you know what I really want to do? I want to write novels, or make stories, make music. I want to perform. I want to inspire. I want to help people. And you know what makes no money? Yeah, exactly that. You know who people don't want to listen to? A neurodivergent person. So it's all this sticky, icky situation. I'm still working on it, but the future looks more than bleak. Negative interactions, such as rejection or false accusations, get internalized way too heavily by me. Do I want to do that? Heck, no, but it hurts all the same. So, either way, there's no clear answer as far as I can see. Next, the system wants me to be autonomous. Well, this one's even worse. I already need help with looking for work, I need therapy and medication, and I just simply need a lot of things. I can barely hold my household together, in truth. Not only because I can hardly move because of my hernias, but because getting out of bed is, well, why bother if the day is going to suck anyway? And I don't say that to be edgy. If I do something, I get hurt and stressed to the point of vomiting. Making a planning drains me of all energy I could possibly have, and then holding to this planning, again, makes me super stressed because it feels very claustrophobic. Like I'm being strangled by chains. It's very hard to explain, but making no planning, I kind of do whatever I think is best in the moment, which leads me to doing either way too much or way too little, and I feel bad about either. Making me sad and making me stressed and, sorry, I'm getting a bit nauseous. That's funny because, bless you, because even in the script it says, writing this script hurts, it's making me nauseous and sad, writing down what I feel instead of trying to ignore it. And while reading it out loud for this podcast and recording it, I feel the same feelings all over again, and I'm very nauseous. But we're almost there, I promise. We're on page 16 of 18, so we're almost there. I promise you, this has been 46 minutes. Holy shit. Alright. So, autonomy. Barely holding it together. I cannot rationalize the workload of anything. I get stressed to the point of vomiting and scratching my actual skin off very quickly. This will sound very morbid, but bear with me. Sometimes I feel like I want to crack my skull open with an axe, just split it wide open so my brain can finally breathe, so that the stress and pain can just blow out like an excess of steam. I don't know, man. Anyway, just next thing, being social. No, I am scared to death of things that I don't or cannot understand clearly, and people are included in this. I'm afraid people will judge me for being fat, for being inept at maintaining social relationships, which brings me to an open letter to all of my friends. I love you all very dearly. You're all wonderful and you mean so much to me. And I'm sorry I am too scared to reach out. I'm sorry I cannot attend meetings or join streams because I secretly fear you really dislike me. You're disappointed in me because I am disappointing myself constantly. Alright? I try to improve, fall back, try again, and I just simply never go further. And I'm sorry for ranting, but I hate this. And then, in my script, I took another break of like a few months. So another month, or few months break. I swear this was not my intention. Anyhow, fixing me is an option, but a complicated one that I'm currently working on. The sad truth, however, is they, society as a whole, want me to be a normal person, and I am inherently not neurodivergent. I'm inherently not neurotypical. I'm not a normal person. I am inherently neurodivergent. I can never be what they want me to be. I cannot be neurotypical. I try to improve myself each and every day, but in all truth, my brain structure is just different. It's not how they want it to be. I'll take my medication to assist me in my journey, but I can never be truly fixed. Unless they replace my entire nervous system with a properly functioning one. And if they're gonna do that, they might as well give me a hernia-free spine. Anyhow, fixing me is... it's not possible. I'm trying to cope and improve every single day, and I trust that I will get better, but I'll never be, perfect. Or even functioning like a neurotypical person. So, option 2 is fixing the system. This is possible, and plenty more capable people than me, far more capable people than me, have taken a shot at what would improve society for the better so that people like me can also thrive. The problem is society doesn't want to. At the end of the day, everything costs money. People like me are money drains in the eyes of the higher-ups of society, so they don't want to waste their money. And the saddest part is that I understand. I understand not wanting to lose money. I understand not wanting to give up your power, even to do something ethical or good. Hi, sweetheart. I love you. Yes, I'm getting emotional, I know. Besides, the only people that will care about your good deed, if you do it, are people that have no power to funnel back to you. Your good deeds are... yeah, sorry. I am having trouble reading. They would have to do it purely altruistically, and true altruism does not exist, at least not in this environment, and not with the people that we have today. A lot of people do good to feel good, which is inherently not altruistic, but I digress. Apologies, I cannot even think straight while writing a script. Yeah, so... some might not know what altruism is. Altruism is basically doing something good morally and or socially while expecting absolutely nothing in return. People have to be persuaded with rewards. That is just the way of things. If a thing or action is not beneficial to the individual, people don't see the point. It makes sense, but sometimes sacrifices must be made for the good of a community. However, neurodivergent people are in the minority. as far as I'm aware anyway. More people are neurotypical than neurodivergent, so why would we do something that impacts only a small portion of people? Well, because the small portion of people still exist. People deserve life, right? That's what I've been told. Anyway, back to topic, apologies. Can we fix the problem that's in the system? Well, hypothetically, yes. Practically, it's very difficult. So, if neither can be fixed, should I just lay down and die? Well, I felt that way many times, dear listener, far more than I would like to admit. I even tried, and alas, I'm still here. People like me will always be here, so even if I were to die, new people like me will show up. They always will. The ever-pressing question is then, how do we fix this predicament? And dear listeners, I'm going to shock you because I do not know. We can donate to charities until our faces go blue and our wallets go empty, but that is still simply treating the symptoms and not dealing with the problem at its core, at its roots. I can only do my humble say here of my own personal experiences, and maybe someone will hear this. Maybe someone will even listen. Maybe someone is inspired to go into politics and do what's right, and maybe they won't be corrupted by power as seemingly everybody before them. Maybe I can inspire you to share the word, to make people aware of the injustice and the problems that some people can experience, but even if nobody listens, I'm glad to have said my say. It was difficult and it was painful. It made me nauseous and it gave me headaches, but now at least it's out there. Maybe people will understand. Dear listener, if I may ask you one thing, it's to think. Don't listen to this person or that person or this news anchor. Just ask the people that you want to ask and think for yourself. Make your own choices. Take care of yourself and try to spread some joy. Spread some kindness. We're all on this big blue ball together. So let's act like it. I'll see you all on the flip side.